Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to hear what the Lord has to say to you today during these perilous times. It's just going to get even more perilous, so you need to get buckled up and prepared and read the Word of God and listen to His words, which is what you're doing now, that He has given to His newer prophets of this age. So these words, they line up with other prophets' words. We're all getting the same thing. And while everybody's a little bit different, just like if you go to a different doctor or chiropractor or whatever, hairstylist, you're going to get somebody that's got their own thing, and that God speaks to us in His own, in each His own way, basically. So with me, it's with like Amanda Grace, it's more it's international. It has to do a lot with Israel and America, obviously, but it has to do with a lot of things, how a lot of things connect around the world. But Aunt Julie Green has a lot to do with just about everywhere and with everything. Mine is basically, God is trying to describe Himself, even though the only way that you can actually learn about God is by actually just getting into His Word and reading about Him. And when you do, you take Him in, because this is the words of God. If you want to know what the creator of the universe has to say, open a Bible. So, because as you open it, this book is alive. And when we say that, it's basically when you read it, you get Him on the inside of you, here and in here. And so, and also it's like tuning in, and this is what He said in one of His words that I gave not long ago. It's like tuning in like a radio channel. The more you read, the clearer the channel becomes between, so that you hear His voice, because He always says His sheep know His voice. So, if you're reading this and you're not hearing Him, number one, read it more. Number two, you need to obey Him. So if you're not walking righteously, which is the right way, okay, Jesus' way, Yahweh, and obey, and you're not obeying Him, that could be why, because sin blocks Him to us and us to Him. That's why He sent Jesus. So you need to accept Jesus into your heart, which is just believe, even if it's even if it's just a little bit, and confess your sins and repent of them, which means turn away from them and walk His way, walk away from it and walk righteously in His way. So, anyway, but he talks about more of, describes like His love for humanity, for all of us, each and every single one of us. He wishes no one to perish, because, and also He also gives prophets the news before the news. So He lets us know what's going to happen, or maybe not exactly what's going to happen, but in order to prepare His people, or to prepare people, period, like, hey, and to draw the lost to Him and prepare His people, saying not to scare, but to prepare. And hey, if it scares the lost, to bring him back into His fold, into His arms. I don't see anything wrong with that either, but anyway, sorry for saying all the ums. I am still a bit new at this, so please bear with me. But so this word, before I get into it, I just wanted to say one little thing about it. Okay, this word, as with another one that I have to give, hits on a touchy subject. And just know that God chastises us, and not one of us, well, except for one, that's Jesus, okay, has never sinned, has never done like anything wrong except for Jesus. So, I mean, I myself have probably committed every sin, every 10 commandments, that there is. And, I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to say, hey, not one of us is sinless. And again, He's pointing something out to explain some things, to explain some reasons why he also of why the enemy, or how the enemy uses it and why. Because he lets us know through his words, through my words, and through the words he gives me anyway, how the enemy operates. Which is really cool. And he will also, and he does in this word like twice, let us in on a little mystery, I would say secret, a little mystery, the unknown mystery. So anyway, he definitely let me know too that I had always wanted to know. And I'm waiting for him to give me one on Bigfoot. So, okay, like, what is it? I think I know what it is, but I need you to tell me what exactly is Bigfoot. And, I know it exists, okay? Yes, where's my tinfoil hat? Okay, I'm one of those. But anyway, there's just too many, and it's been going on for hundreds of years. The Native Americans saw them. They had plenty of eyewitness accounts anyway, and drawings and stuff. I mean, they're over there in the, I think it's in the Southwest or something. I don't know. Anyway, big hairy people. So, all right, well, here, now it's been almost 6 minutes. I'm so very sorry, but I just had to get those things out of the way. Okay, so this one's called I Keep My Promises, and I got it September 11th, 2023. So that was last year. Today is April 24th of 2024. Okay, so here we go. Receive me this day, and I will protect you from what is about to come to all the earth. Calamity the likes no one has seen or will again until the end of this age. Okay, because this is the beginning of a new age. Okay, this is the end times, but this is the beginning of the end times. Okay, the end times, like the rapture and the tribulation and all that. Yes, there is a rapture. How do I know? Because he's said it in plenty of his words. But anyway, the great tribulation, that's not for generations. So that's many, 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 many years ago, ahead of us. Okay, many years ago, many years ahead of us. Okay. This is the beginning of a new era into his kingdom. Okay. This has to happen, the calamities and stuff, the judgment that's about to happen. It's a judgment. He's had many judgments before, but this is one that mirrors the Exodus in Egypt. Okay, so it's called the Greater Exodus. Moving on. This has to happen to expose all that the enemy has done and are planning to do to you. So much has the enemy done, it will be hard to wrap your minds around. Things so evil, one can hardly fathom, especially when you learn that the enemy is from within your own nation. They infiltrated themselves long ago and have grown like a cancer. That's why years ago they had to silence and stop those that were still trying to stop. That's why years ago they had to silence and stop those that were trying to stop them and bring their evil deeds to light. JFK, MLK, and many others, still to this day, they have had to silence because they were lifting the veil of light, truth, to expose their darkness. How long has this been going on, you ask? Since the beginning. And before that, actually, there were some bad seeds in the bunch. And I got like the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's what I got. That's what he kind of brought to my mind. And he'll usually do that when he needs me to understand what he's talking about. Okay, so there were some bad seeds in the bunch, bad fruit, that sold out this country for money, power, and fame, just as it is today. I made this country to be a beacon of me, my light, true freedom, and that's in all caps, run by my people. But there were some of those that worshiped Lucifer, the enemy, that slithered their way in and convinced my children to adopt certain ideals, like slavery, for instance. So I got but there were some of those that worshiped Lucifer, the enemy. I got secret societies, okay? And, look up what a secret society is. They're pretty much all the same. They're just different branches, okay? So that's what he's said before in his words. Okay, let's see here. So like slavery, for instance, it was supposed to be a land of freedom for everyone, black, white, male, and female. And there are other things too that sneaked its way into the land as time went on, like taxes upon taxes. Kind of sounds familiar, right? And the horrific abortion. Now, this is what I was talking about, but just hang on in there. Listen to what he has to say, okay? The killing of the innocent is the enemy's specialty. Okay, so he's letting you in on the enemy's tactics, okay, which is Satan, the devil, the enemy, the evil ones. Okay, the killing of the innocent is the enemy's specialty because that's what I revile the most. Okay, listen to this though. I told this would happen in the beginning when the fall of man happened. And he's talking about Genesis 3, 1 through 7. Now, this was one of the things that the little mysteries that he let known that he, gave. So I always wondered about this, like in the Garden of Eden. Okay, well, if Lucifer, Satan, whatever, Satan just means the the adversary. Okay, that's from Michael Heiser, the late Michael Heiser. So where was that at? Okay, so Genesis 3, 1 through 7. Genesis 6 is later. The first prophecy, it was the one given by God, okay, during this. But I had always wondered, like, okay, what's a serpent or a snake that can, obviously it had legs because, if you read that, he takes away his legs, he's going to crawl on his belly. And obviously he's talking. Or, those that have actually had visitations or visits or visions of heaven. Animals do talk. Yes, there's animals in heaven. So your pets go there. Okay. Your pets go there. So we're going to see our pets again if you go to heaven, if you accept Jesus. So anyway, but they talk like telepathically, apparently, So, and so does Jesus, apparently. Just about everybody says that. He'll basically answer you before you finish your sentence. So anyway, moving on, he says, because of what, now talking about Genesis 3, okay, because of what the serpent did on and at Lucifer's behest, I cursed him and his offspring. And because I had already lined up Jesus to redeem you, to crush him, to destroy him, he, Satan, the enemy, the adversary, has been out to destroy your seed, children, ever since. Okay, so then that's Genesis 3, 14 through 15. So just read Genesis 3. And so that's what he does, because the serpent was the one that made Eve doubt, okay? And it was because of her pride. It was because of Lucifer's pride because he fell, and it was because, our pride, humans' pride wound up getting her and get the best of her and Adam both because they questioned God. Otherwise, if you have complete humility, you're going to trust God no matter what. But if you have just a little bit of pride, believe me, when God's pruning you, he will put you through the fire. And I have been through the fire several times, and I've been so pruned, even here as of late. And I'm telling you, whatever you have in you, it will be, as horrible what it is that you're going through, he's trying to do a work in you, okay? So you need to submit and be and just have humility. You will know what the word humility means, okay? So anyway, that was a mystery. So moving on. Okay, and it didn't just stop because Jesus came and defeated him, although talking about the killing of the children, okay? And it didn't just stop because Jesus came and defeated him, although he tried so desperately to stop that. The life, the power, which is power, the life is power, is in the blood. And this is bold. And even though you were born into a cursed, fallen world, a child, a newborn, is the most innocent there is. That is one reason they want it. Okay, get this, for their sick rituals to help keep them young. Their sick rituals and to help to keep them young. And he's talking about adrenochrome. He let me know that. If you don't know what that is, look it up because it is horrific what they do to the children to get that. It's awful. And I don't mean just babies, I mean like children. So it's so disturbing, but it's going to be coming out in the mainstream. All of this is going to be revealed. He's just revealing to you first, okay? You will be amazed and disgusted once you find out all to those you looked up to are involved in it. He's talking about celebrities, politicians, athletes, the whole gamut, okay? They're all, every single celebrity, most of them are involved in it because that is how they get to how they are. You want a good role in a movie? You got to do something. And that's actually coming out in the mainstream. It's still kind of not super out there, but it will be. Okay. They also want to kill the children because you are made in my image. They steal, kill, and destroy in any way they can to hurt and destroy you and to hurt me too. They know that by hurting my children, especially the innocent, hurts me beyond measure. You may ask, well, then why don't you stop them? You're God, aren't you? I can't, you see. Free will gives them the choice. If I stopped everyone from sinning, there would be no one, including you. Okay, next page. All right, a time is coming. Listen up. A time is coming when I will rescue you and the innocent from the evil one and his tyranny upon the earth. But I have prolonged that day in my loving kindness and mercy to give people everywhere a chance to turn to me, to be saved from that day and what's coming. I am coming to punish the wicked and bless my remnant. So he's going to punish the wicked, right? And since it's the greater Exodus, okay, there's going to be some plagues and judgments going on, okay? Like there was 10 judgments. There was plagues and pestilence and hail and all sorts of stuff. And then there was also, and then on the 10th one was the angel of death that came for their newborn. Except they won't be coming, they'll be coming for, he has said he'll be coming for the angel of death will be coming for them and not their newborn. So that's a bit of a difference too. So I am coming, let's see here, I am coming to punish the wicked and bless my remnant. And in doing so, I will heal the brokenhearted and all wounds the enemy has inflicted. Okay, so all the children, all the people that have gone through so much, we're gonna be healed. Okay, because whenever the Israelites left Egypt, not only were they wealthy because the Egyptians were just like giving them all this gold and silver, just giving them riches, because they actually came into Egypt rich. Just over time, they got enslaved and taxed and labored and burdened and everything, kind of like us. And then, although I don't know if we came in rich, although some probably did. Probably not my family. Anyway, probably not my family. But we're going to leave rich, though, if you were with God. But there was none feeble among them. Okay, so because they had to make the trek all the way to the promised land, which was supposed to have been 2 weeks, and it took 40 years. So God kept confusing them to where whatever. And then when it was time, most of them didn't enter into the promised land because they doubted God. Okay, because they sent 10 spies out to view the Jericho with city walls that were 6 chariots wide. And giants lived there. And so the 10 came back, and only 2 of them, Caleb and Joshua, had the good report, like, yes, with our God, yeah, we can do it. We can do anything with our God. And the other 8 were like, no, they're too big. And yes, I'm sure it was scary. But anyway, you just, they had God. They literally just witnessed, okay, all that God just did for them. So anyway, okay, so he's gonna heal us, okay? And he said, I spoke about this by prophets of old and by newer prophets like Paul and Timothy, and even my son, Jesus. He was a prophet too, you see. And, if people have a hard time believing in prophecy, I totally get it. I was a bit freaked out by prophets and prophecy and all that kind of stuff. And it's so ironic. God has a major sense of humor. Not major, but he's got a sense of humor because he made me one. So imagine that, right? So, but anyway, if you have a hard time believing that or wrapping your mind, just think about it, that if you are a so-called Christian, if you believe in Jesus, he was a prophet, okay, that's not hard to wrap your mind around. That's not hard to believe. But you got to think about it. Paul wrote most of the New Testament, okay, like 2/3 or something. He was a prophet. He started out, he came along way after Jesus, like 30 or 40 years after Jesus. And he was a Pharisee. He was actually killing. Okay, here we go about the sin and everything, right? He actually killed and hunted down and put imprisoned Christians. And so, you'll have to read, I can't remember if it's Acts or which one it is. It might be Romans where he, Jesus came to him and, he wound up losing his sight and whatever. And then, he became a prophet. So anyway, he wrote that. So he was a prophet. Just read it. All right, this is in bold, and the end of the sentence is in all caps. But that day the prophets speak of, will soon be upon you. That is why these warnings. There will be much disaster that will lay waste to the wicked. My children and non-believers need to be made aware so they can prepare themselves, their family and friends, and their pets too. I will protect my children, just as I did in Goshen, which is where the Israelites, his people, were in the land of Egypt. It was a whatever area named Goshen. So while all the judgments were raining down upon Egypt, Goshen was untouched. His people didn't suffer from any of the judgments. Okay, just knowing that. And that's the Exodus, by the way. So just read I got a piece of hair. So just read Exodus, okay? I will protect my children just as I did in Goshen, but you must cover yourselves and others in my son's blood, as that is the only thing that will protect you from all evil, no matter if it's the spirit of fear, which is going to be rampant, okay? Because that's what the enemy's trying to do with all these false flags and all these other things that they're doing. They're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink, okay? Because their main agenda was 2030, but they've got to do it before November, because they cannot have a certain somebody in office because he knows all of their deeds and is going to expose them all. And they're going to lose control of their power. So they can't have that. So they've got to do everything that they can to try not to get him, in office. Okay. And so they're going to throw everything that they've been planned for the next 5 to 10 years at us within, 7 months, 6 months. So you need to be prepared because, God's sending out his judgments as well. So when he says, get protected, you must cover yourselves and others with his son, Jesus's blood. It doesn't mean like, oh, get you something and spread some, go kill something. No. Okay. You do it. Okay. And he tells you down here by speaking it. Okay. And I'll let you, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, it says right here. So the spirit of fear is very, very strong, okay? And then it says, no matter if it's the spirit of fear, the lack of provision, okay, which is very, very scary. I recently, or somewhat recently, lost my job of 27 years, the lack of provision. Well, that spirit of fear came on me, and it came on me hard. I was not expecting it at all. And it was really hard. I mean, the only way that I got out of it was literally I clung to God. I read the Bible all the time. And when I wasn't reading, I was listening to worship music and trying to worship him. And I was worshiping him and listened to sermons and stuff. I mean, I couldn't function. I literally couldn't function for a while. So that spirit of fear is nothing to, and I'm somebody that is not really afraid of anything or wasn't afraid of much of anything. So, And it says, so lack of provision or even lack of faith. Okay. So Jesus's blood will protect you from all evil, including those. So speak it over your land and the innocent, and pray for those that are not of faith in me. And I will protect them because of your faith, just as I did with Lot for Abraham, but he wasn't Abraham yet. He was Abram, which is in Genesis 19, and the Israelites in the wilderness for Moses, because they were bad. They were so bad. And Moses was, he actually begged and pleaded because God was like, okay, I'm tired of him. I shouldn't have made him. I should have rescued him. And Moses was like, but no, wait, you said you're so good to your word. So anyway, his faith covered them. And that's in Exodus 32. And for the centurion's faith in and with Jesus, so I will do for you and yours. That's in Matthew 8, 5 through 13, when the centurion comes to Jesus with his sick servant, and he's not with his sick servant, but about his sick servant, excuse me. And he's like, just say the word, your word. That's all I need. Because he's like, okay, I'll come. And he's like, no, I just need your word. Just tell me that you'll do it. I mean, he literally had that much faith, and his servant was healed. By the time he made it home, his servant had already been healed and had been healed that very moment. Okay, so come humbly and boldly to my throne and make your requests on their behalf be known, and I will hear you. Tell others about my son Jesus, so as to save people from the calamity that's coming and will soon be upon you. Believe, okay, this is what he wants everybody to listen. Okay, believe, even if it's the size of a mustard seed, right? Confess, because confession means something. You're speaking it. Even though God knows everything you've done, you need to confess it, admit to it, and confess it. Receive forgiveness and the Holy Spirit, and repent, which means walk the other way, walk God's way, right? So, and keep on walking that path and obeying God, and the Holy Spirit will stay with you. And he says, and I will carry you and protect you through this time. As this time is like no other that you were living in. Yes, a time of trouble and tribulation, but a time of freedom from bondage you didn't even realize you were in, and the depths of it. It's called the Great Harvest. That was the first word I got. I'm about to do a video on that, actually. And the Greater Exodus. And that was the second word I got. But it's called the Great Harvest, where he's harvesting his people, because he's going to bless them, right? Harvesting the remnant. And the Greater Exodus, because he's going to free us from the bondage of slavery and taxation and the what do you call it, the rat race and all that kind of stuff, because it was never meant to be that way. Okay, we can't worship our God just like they couldn't worship him like they needed to and wanted to. We can't worship God like we need to and want to, because we're tired. We're running around everywhere all the time. We're so busy. We're this and this and that. We're poisoned with our food and our water and our air. So we're sick and tired constantly. We can't serve God and worship him like he wants, like we're supposed to. It says, so as this time is like no other that you were living in. Yes, a time of trouble and tribulation, but not the great tribulation, okay? That's for many years later. But a time of freedom and bondage, okay, that you didn't even realize. Okay, I'm sorry, I got behind. The first harvest, pay attention, this is another little mystery nugget. The first harvest was the flood, when I saved Noah and his family, because in my loving kindness and mercy, I allowed things to get that bad. Only 8 people were still human, weren't defiled in some way, physically or spiritually, okay? And this is from Genesis 6, okay? And what he means by, oh, they were still human, only 8 were still human, he's talking about the Nephilim, the giants, okay? And how there became giants. It's definitely not because of God. It was when the fallen angels, this comes from First Enoch, but it's in the Bible. The first Enoch used to actually be in the Bible. They just took it out because it wasn't like canonized, God breathed and God inspired. It's more like a history, but whatever, it used to be in the Bible, and God actually does mention it in the Bible like 2 or 3 different times, as well as some other apocryphal books. So anyways, where the sons of God came down and basically intermingled somehow their DNA, however that worked, with humans. And yes, humans okayed it, because God had said that, yeah, they're both guilty. Both the fallen angels and humans were guilty, because they got, in exchange for giving up their daughters, or, a woman, whatever. In exchange, they got information, they got knowledge on metallurgy, on how to do herbs and medicine, all sorts of stuff. So that's where that's what he's talking about there, that even the animals got defiled by them, the intermingling of their seed. So that is why a lot of times before the flood, so it was really bad before the flood, only, if somebody or something wasn't defiled physically, then they were spiritually. And after the flood, it happened as well, a second incursion. And that, and as he also says, here's another nugget too. So I guess there was 3. So Ham was one of Noah's 3 sons. Okay. Ham was the bad son. Okay, he was bad. He was naughty. So Ham wasn't pure in heart, but he wasn't defiled at the time the door to the ark was sealed. Okay, so know that. It was only later did he allow himself to become spiritually unclean due to the things he did by the entertaining of evil imaginations. And that is from 2 Corinthians 10:5, where basically we are not to give the devil a foothold, okay? We are to, what does it say? We are to take our thoughts captive, okay? And not give the devil a foothold, because if we give the devil a foothold by entertaining certain thoughts and desires and stuff that are ungodly, that are not of God, whether it be drinking, drugs, fornication. Fornication is sex outside of marriage, of anything, lust, anything. Okay, entertaining. That's in other words called entertaining devils, because they're evil imaginations, and you need to cut that sucker down, pull it out by the roots. Okay, so that's what he's talking about, because Ham gave way to Cush, and then Canaan, which wound up becoming Nimrod. Okay, and Nimrod was Gilgamesh, by the way, outside of the Bible. Okay, so last little bit here. I promised, so he's talking about, the flood still, the flood. I promised I wouldn't send a worldwide flood next time, and I keep my promises. And that on Genesis 9, he speaks it over and over again. And he talks about the rainbow. That's how we got the rainbow. People, it's holy. It's not to be whatever, but it's got 7 colors, not 6. I promised, okay, so that is why I am sending the angel of death to destroy, lay waste, the wicked, while not touching my children and those that may not be a part of my family just yet, but either has potential or are being spared for a reason. And I'm like, maybe that reason could be because of your covering them with your faith, okay? And giving them more of a chance to come to Jesus, okay, after all of this. And the time is coming, and the time coming, is the greater exodus, because it will be worldwide, so it's greater. There will even be a Red Sea moment. I've heard there'll be a Red Sea moment. Obviously, he said that, but there'll be, I also heard other prophets say there'll be like Red Sea moments. So get ready, be prepared for miracles, signs, and wonders, the likes you could not imagine. And come to me to stay safely under my wings of protection and blessings untold. To be saved from calamity and destruction in this life and the next. I love you, your loving, redeeming God. So saith the Lord. And that was it. I don't know if I should start reading the thing all the way through and then kind of going over a couple of things. But I figured I would just kind of, while I'm reading through it, go ahead and speak it. But maybe you guys can leave a comment and let me know which one you would like, because that's what I used to do. I changed it up a little bit, but now I'm at almost 30. I'm at 35 minutes, so I will leave it here. Thank you for watching. Please like, share this video, because you never know who might need it to hear it, okay, which is actually everybody. Everybody needs to be aware of what's going on, what's coming on down the road, and it's going to be soon. And I mean, not like 2,000 years soon, but like soon, like maybe within the next month or so. Nobody knows the time or day, but we do know the seasons, okay? We do know the signs and the seasons that he's given us, and what he's giving us is extremely soon. We don't have much time, so I have got to get these words out. So anyway, God bless you and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.